Exhibit reads like this. For Donald Trump's election, some universities echoed with primal howls. Faculty members canceled classes for weeping.
I'm sorry.
Joe,
keep going.
let me get through it.
They're so open-minded.
Terrified students who asked, how could this be possibly happening? I share apprehensions about President-elect Trump, but I also fear the reaction was evidence of how insular universities have become. When students inhabit liberal bubbles, they're not learning much about their own country. We liberals are adept at pointing out the hypocrisies of Trump, but we should also address our own hypocrisy in terrain we govern, such as most universities. Too often we embrace diversity of all kinds, except for ideological. We champion tolerance, except for conservatives and evangelical Christians. We want to be inclusive of people who don't look like us, so long as they think like us.
Wow.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Powerfully true.
That would be a big yes, Nick Kristof.
I mean, it really...
Sorry, but that's the truth.
That is an important column, not for conservatives to read, to go, hell yeah.
For everybody.
But for liberals to read. One of the things that I've, throughout my entire life,
For the reason
I've
we
known
lost.
that whether I was an undergrad, even at Alabama in some schools, or in law school, I had to defend every word I said. Whereas somebody center-left could say something stupid, everybody would agree with them, because there was this groupthink that caused people to be intellectually flabby. They just did. I read the New York Times. The New York Times had a profile on John Roberts, and people were saying, well, why is he so great in front of the Senate? Because John Roberts, a classmate, said every time he raised his hand in law school at Harvard, he knew he was going to get his head knocked off. And so you just sharpen your arguments. Where if you're around a place that doesn't let Condi Rice come and speak at a graduation because she's too conservative, or Christine Lagarde is too offensive, then Harold, you talk about illiberal education. That's not liberal education. Illiberal education has seized college campuses across America, as Nick Kristof said. And you only have like 1 out of 10 professors that are Republicans or conservatives. You can't understand the world if you don't let it in behind your gates.
The most powerful statement is the final sentence that Mika quoted about diversity is not just about embracing folks who don't look like you, but people don't think like you. My alma mater and Peter's alma mater, my law school alma mater, Michigan, President Obama spoke there for commencement several years ago, and he indicated one of the things he hoped that all these students would do would be for conservatives to read a little HuffPost and for liberals to read a little Drudge Report to understand where, not only where each is coming from, but to your point, sharpen your own argument. It is embarrassing that every elite conservative or liberal kind of got this race wrong, with the exception of a handful.
Right. Yeah.
One of the things the country has to do after every race is to raise the hood and to understand Democrats and Republicans. What happened? Why was there such disconnect?
Right.
David Brooks had one of the better columns during the year when he said, look, I've got to leave my office. You commented on it, you and Mika both. Leave this tower I sit in and get out and try to understand what's happening in the country. Universities, it has to start there.
Got to
start. Kids don't feel comfortable having honest, vigorous debates there or conversations there.
The arguments are so closed off. I feel sorry for the kids there. I really do, because they're so closed off. And this isn't just Ivy League. Again, I went to the University of Alabama, a very conservative Southern state school culturally.
The only group think you have about football.
I was a liberal arts major. I can't remember a single conservative to moderate Republican professor I had. They were all obviously Democrats, which again, is fine with me, because I spent my entire life sharpening my arguments. But if, again, everywhere you go, people say you're right, no matter how weak your argument is. It creates an intellectual laziness that allows you to see your party collapse, and you wake up one day and you only have 11 or 12 governors nationwide.
And this notion that an opposing political view is not just wrong, but that it's offensive. Like that you can't possibly bear the thought of having to be exposed to the other side's argument. It's so corrosive.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's arrogant, too. I mean, imagine if a speaker comes to your campus and you don't want to listen to him, don't go to the speech. But to say, I don't want anybody else to listen to them.
To shut down.
That's terrible.